Hello, I'm Pamela Davis. Welcome to episode 80 of the Well Done Life podcast. Hello, and welcome back to episode 80 of the Well Done Life podcast. I'm your host, Pamela Davis. If you're new here, hey, how are you? Welcome. I'm so glad that you could join us this week. Thank you for checking us out. And if you've been here before, you guys know what's up. You know I love you deep. I am so glad that you are back again. Thank you, because your continued support keeps me motivated. I'll be honest. Some days I struggle and question and doubt myself too. So I love knowing that you're listening and I appreciate it. So thank you for your support. So before we dive into this week's episode, this is episode 80 and I'm very excited about it. Y'all know I love a good number and 80 is a good number. I want to make sure that we build this appropriately. So let's kind of make sure that our safe space, our house, is built on the right foundation. And just to make sure that everyone knows what that is, this safe space is built on clarity and love. So let's start with clarity. With clarity, I want to make sure you understand why you're here. The Well Done Life podcast is a podcast for women. This is a safe space. I really feel like women are the foundation of society. And I also feel like there are not enough areas or spaces where as women we get an opportunity to come together, share our stories, the good, the bad, the ugly, and also get a chance to kind of motivate and inspire each other. We need each other to kind of help ourselves grow and to really lift each other up. So this is what this is. So now that we have clarity, I want to make sure that you know that this is built in love because love is really the thing. It really, really is. And this is what love is about. So love is about making sure that you know that you are prayed for, that you are covered and protected. So I like to make sure that I send prayers to each of you. This week, I am definitely sending you prayers of health because come on now, we are still in a panini. And y'all know I like to use funny words for the pandemic, but seriously, we are still in a panini. And at the same time, I also know that there's just so much going on that is triggering. There are so many opportunities for us to lose our peace. And I just had a wonderful conversation today with Dr. Shalana Battle of the Eavesdrop podcast. I'm going to be on her show, y'all. I'm so excited. She was on the Well Done Life podcast as well, and she is an amazing person, and she really educates women in regards to their health and their wellness. And I wanted to make sure that I mention her because she's so cool. And when that episode comes out, I'll share it with you. But we had a great conversation today, and we talked about how as women, we don't really sometimes support and encourage each other enough. And for me, that is something that really hits home because like I said, this is about building up a space where women can be who they are and we can share our stories. And at the same time, we have to be able to, as we are sharing our stories, speak life into each other. So that is one of the reasons why I love making sure that I send you prayers every week because you are prayed for. I pray for everyone in the world every day. And I hope some of you are too, because when two or more people come into agreement, many great things can happen. We can move mountains. But in regards to this, I am sending you personally prayers of peace, prayers of health, prayers of prosperity, and just prayers of hope and understanding, because I really think that we need more of that in the world, and you need it. I want you to know that you are just valued and cared for and loved. So that is the root of what we are building this foundation on. So now that we've kind of gotten that out of the way, let's kind of dive into, like I said, this week's episode. This is episode 80, and I'm so excited about 80. I know it's not 100. I know it's not normally a major number, but 80 is a major number for me because I never thought I would get to 80. Heck, I didn't even know if I would get to 10. So being here just makes me so happy. And I am recording on Friday night on September the 17th. I actually know the day of the week, y'all. That is so nice. I'm very calm right now. I hope to stay that way at 9:51 p.m. on a Friday. And like I said, this is number 80, and I'm going to keep talking about that and saying it because 80 is a really powerful number. You guys know that I am one of those waist bead wearing, Jesus loving, sage burning chicks. And so, of course, I had to make sure I set the foundation. And it's funny, the first thing that I saw when I looked up the number 80 is that this is a sign of unending abundance. Isn't that beautiful, y'all? This is a sign of unending abundance. So tonight we are going to talk about the signs of unending abundance because we are in a season of unending abundance. That's right. And I am claiming that for myself, but I'm also claiming that for you. And I think it kind of really fits into where we started to lay our foundation last week and the week before. With episodes 78 and 79. Episode 79, The Power of Surrendering, was a part 2 to episode 78, Preparation. And full disclosure on preparation, that episode I hope comes out and is well received because it truly is something that is personal for me to share my journey of preparation into my season of abundance. And it was a rocky season, and it was just like it being a rocky season, it was a rocky podcast. So please excuse the sound quality, but hopefully I made up for that last week in surrendering, because in the power of surrendering, that was, like I said, the part 2 to preparation, because one of the key things that you will learn about being in your season of preparation is that you have to surrender to it. You have to be able to remove yourself so that you can receive the blessings that are there for you. And so with us talking about being in preparation, with us talking about being surrender in the power of surrendering, then obviously it would make sense. And I guess the universe is totally in line. God is in line with us talking about unending abundance and signs of unending abundance. Because right now, with us recording episode number 80, that's where we are. We are in a season of great abundance and profound season of change and opening. And it's interesting how in episode 78 and 79, as I mentioned, I'm in a season of preparation right now. I'm actually in a season of preparation personally and professionally. And it is it's very scary. But at the same time, it's not, because I know that there are great things on the other side of it. But at the same time, it's scary because now it's a lot of work that needs to be done and a lot of centering that needs to be done. And kind of when I say centering, that really goes back to being able to surrender. And just to kind of lay the foundation before we dive into this unending abundance of episode 80 and the meaning of 80, you kind of do have to look at the fact that when you're in a season of preparation, you have to surrender. And like I laid in episode 79, there are things to remember when you're on this journey of surrendering that will help you, because it is very hard to surrender to the journey that we're on, because it's not just me. I know that there are many of you out there who are in this season where you are trying to manifest a particular goal, or you are preparing for different changes in your life. And it is very challenging to really center yourself because you are constantly having things thrown at you. I mean, everyone's like, oh, when you enter the season of abundance, it's supposed to be, sometimes smooth sailing. It just kind of all lines out. It comes together. Yes, it all does line up. It all will come together. But at the same time, while it's lining up and coming together, you are going to face a lot of different challenges. You are going to have things thrown at you left and right, and you are constantly going to be tested. And it is very easy for us, because remember, there is so much more of us still here inside of us, that we allow fear, doubt, ego, stress, all of those things to creep in, and they at times will make us pull off of the journey. And we will delay our abundance. And you notice that I didn't say deny my abundance or deny your abundance. I said delay the abundance, because what's for you cannot be denied. If it is your ordained time, if it is your ordained season, what is for you cannot be stopped. It can be delayed, but it can't be stopped. So we have to make sure that that's out there, because that's always the risk. That's always the fear. That's always the conversation when you hear people talk about sometimes, well, it didn't work out. I guess it's not my time. No, it is your time, but because you don't believe it's your time, it's not your time. And really, let me say that again. It is your time, but because you don't believe it's your time, it's not your time. But it still is your time. It's just you don't believe it is. And because you don't believe it, you've now stopped progressing on the journey to it. So we've cleared that up. We realize that we are on the journey and only we are denying ourselves because there's things that we are not doing to surrender to the process. So when you surrender, and I'm not going to go through all of the lists, but what I will do is I will list episode 79, The Power of Surrendering, in the show notes, along with episode 78. Like I said, excuse the sound quality, y'all, but hopefully the message will inspire and encourage you of preparation in there as well. But a couple of the things to remember, I'm going to list 4. There's 7, but I will give you 4. That first thing to remember while you are surrendering on the journey is that it is easier said than done. And kind of I've started already laying the foundation with this conversation. It is easier said than done because you are constantly going to be challenged, pushed, and pulled. And with those constant thoughts, knowing that it's not going to be easy, you have to guard against those distractions because you know that you are constantly going to be pushed and pulled. And when you have those distractions and you're trying to guard against them, you have to hold yourself accountable to staying engaged and not doubting on the journey, because you are going to be able to achieve certain things. And then certain things are not going to be easily achieved. You may be questioned. Like I mentioned in episode 79, when I was talking about my season of abundance initially and how I utilized that season in regards to getting my home that I currently live in, I remember dealing with the mortgage company. And I'd actually, like I said, gotten to the point where I was like, look, you either want my firstborn child that I don't have or a blood sample, because you've asked me everything else and I'm still here. And I was getting frustrated, but I was only frustrated because I was constantly being questioned and fear was starting to rise up in me, like this wasn't going to work out. I wasn't afraid because I couldn't come up with what she was asking. I was just afraid of constantly being questioned. And a lot of times we are all in that situation. We get scared when people start to dig in too much to certain things, when we might be uncomfortable and they trigger us. And we then allow our fear to rise up into the situation. But you can't do that. Because when your fear rises up, you are giving fear the opportunity to come in and take total control, when you need to recognize and forgive and acknowledge that fear is okay, but it doesn't have any place driving your decisions. And I talked about that in more detail, in particular in last week's episode, because I referenced Elizabeth Gilbert. She's one of my favorite authors, and she wrote this book called Big Magic. And she's the one who actually wrote Eat, Pray, Love. But she references the ability that she has to be able to speak to her fears. And she has this beautiful quote that she utilizes when she is in situations where she feels uncomfortable. And I suggest personally that maybe you adopt that until you are able to craft your own strategy on how you want to speak to your fears. Because that's one thing that we constantly have to do when you're on the journey. You have to be able to forgive and acknowledge your fear, and you've got to be able to speak to it. You've got to be able to control it, because fear is just false evidence appearing real, but it gets so real sometimes when you are allowing it to control you that you become paralyzed and fear becomes the driver. When in actuality, you need to just say, okay, I understand that I'm afraid, but I'm still going to keep going. I'm still going to keep doing what I need to do, because this is my time, this is my season. You have to have unshakable faith. And unshakable faith, not just in God, but unshakable faith in yourself, because you have to know that God wouldn't have given the vision to you, that you were in this time of abundance, that you weren't able to achieve this goal if it wasn't for you, because you deserve it and it's your time to achieve it. So that's part of you in that learning season. So like I said, that is something that I would reference, and I'll make sure that I put that as well in this week's episode. But when we're getting to this week's episode, we are talking about, like I said, this is number 80. And with this being number 80, I know that 8 and 0 is a very powerful number. So I wanted to go and do what I love to do. I love to research. That is my nerd side in full effect. And I have to, because I truly believe in being intentional. And I wanted to look it up. So I will make sure I put a link to this, but one of the things that I found when I was looking up the meaning of 80 and trying to research information about it, one of the things that first caught my eye was that 80 is the sign of unending abundance. And I was like blown away by that, because I'm like, wow. I mean, who does not want unending abundance in their life? And that we are entering into a season of this being an unending abundant time. So I said, okay, then let's really get clear and understand what it is. So with us looking at the number 80, the number 80 obviously is made up of the number 8 and 0, which are two very powerful numbers in itself. The number 8 is a number of achievement. It is of abundance, prosperity, and success. And when this number becomes active in your life, you can expect big rewards from your angels for all your efforts. And then the number 0, on the other hand, it is less material and more concerned with duality and mystery. So the number 0 is associated with both nothing and eternity, making it the perfect symbol of Alpha and Omega. And then this makes it number 0 a number of great paradoxes and the perfect symbol of God, which brings all things into manifestation without any effort at all. And so when this vibration appears with another number, like in the number 8, and it acts like a lens and it magnifies the other number's vibrational meaning. So in angel number 80, the power of number 8 is greatly enhanced, which means that it even has more opportunity to influence our lives. So this, again, more opportunities to have abundance, more opportunities of gratitude, more opportunities of generosity. So it is looking for a sign, or this is a sign, that rewards and higher achievements are on the way. And the angels, which I like to always refer to personally as my ancestors, because I truly believe that God has many soldiers in the kingdom of heaven, and they are guiding and helping me and my family and all of us on our journey as we are moving through this thing called life. So they're looking for ways that they can assist us to help us achieve their higher good. And we want to make sure that as we are moving through this time, that we are aligning ourselves with our higher purpose in life, and that our stars will align and all the obstacles that we will face will be removed, and it will bring about instant and lasting success. So this is a number where we are in a season, like I said, of preparation, and abundance is coming. And we just have to recognize that with that, we have to be mindful of where it comes from. Because the next part of this is that whenever this alignment occurs, we have to understand that our ego will try to take credit for it. But instead, we have to realize that it is God in our ancestors who are doing that in our lives, and we have to show gratitude every day. So we need to make sure that we stay mindful of ourselves, because this number in this season that we are in is all about growth and progress. We are on this journey. Like I said, we're in this season of preparation. We know that we're here. Well, we have to realize that right now, this is a time where the ancestors are all lining up to make sure that we have exactly what we need. And we have to be very grateful for those small blessings that come, those steps along the ways, those whispers that we hear in our soul and our spirit guiding us, because that means that we are doing exactly what we are supposed to do. And we have to give them praise and honor for it. Don't think about it being coming from you. Yes, you are an active part of it, but you are not the complete source of it. So you want to make sure that you are mindful of that, because we are in this major season of growth and progress. And we have to understand that in this season of growth and progress, we have the skills and the talents to achieve everything that we desire. And God and the ancestors will help us tap into that side of us. So it's a very powerful time. And it's funny when you think of unending abundance. Like I said, I personally, my breath gets blown away, because I'm like, wow, to be in a season of unending abundance, that is just such a magical and beautiful thought. And especially as when you're in the season of preparation, and you do have to cling into that side of yourself, that spiritual side of yourself, because it's important to tap into who you are. I've said this before in previous episodes, and I really, truly do believe this. I think God uniquely gives each of us gifts in order for us to be able to achieve the goals that we set out for ourselves. We do. I think we each were born to heal one of the issues of this world. And I think that we have choices, though, with it. Some people will choose maybe never to tap into that side of themselves. And that's okay, because they will still live a good life. But at the same time, for those of us who have decided that we want to tap into who we were called to be, the road is not always easy. We're still going to have a great life, but we're going to face a lot of challenges, because we are tapping into our higher selves. We're tapping into our unique gifts. When we see things in seasons like this is a reminder for us that we are cared for and supported, and that the skills and the desires that we have to achieve are right inside of us. We have to just tap into it. It's time for us to use our mind and our personal gifting to be able to help us get to this next level of abundance. And we have to stay mindful of the fact that we want to give credit where it should be, because I said it, I think, not maybe in the last episode or the episode before last, but there's always this term or this phrase that you will hear in a lot of churches, and a lot of Black churches, where it'll be like, you just want so much more of God and so much less of you. And that is so true, because you have to realize that your ego, your thoughts, your perceptions, your fears, they can cloud what is really ordained for you. Because a lot of times, yes, we want good things for our lives, but when we get to thinking of ourselves in the way that God wants for us, or our ancestors want for us, the ones who have gone ahead for us, they have seen abundance. They understand that we are worth so much more than maybe what we see in ourselves. So we have to aspire to have so much more of what God wants. We want God's vision for our life, not just the vision that we have, because his abundance, as they say in the Bible, you could open up the windows of heaven and there wouldn't be enough blessings or rooms to contain the abundance that he has for you. That's the type of thought and mindset that we have to have when we are looking at trying to understand what level of abundance we should have for ourselves. We're talking about unending abundance. There's not enough rooms and windows or doors to contain that type of blessing that they want, that is on our lives. And so a lot of times we can't see that. We only can see so level, maybe half level. I'm kind of like making this hand gesture in front of myself like y'all can see me, which is kind of crazy. Sorry. But, we don't see the sky is a limit. We see a limit, when in actuality there is no limit. And that only comes from us believing inside of ourselves. So we have to understand that we are in the season. And when we are in the season of ending abundance, one of the things that also struck me when I was researching the number is that we have to think about ways of uplifting lives, our own life, and illuminating lives of others by sharing our gifts with them and sharing our thoughts with them. And like I mentioned earlier, I had a great conversation tonight with Dr. Shalana Battle. I just finished up recording for her episode and her podcast episode, and one of the things that we talked about was in reference to women elevating and motivating each other, and we don't do enough of that. I mean, and that's kind of like what we talked about, and how as women, I just really feel like personally we don't have enough conversations with each other regardless of our skin color. We just don't talk enough and share enough, because I think if we did more of that, that would dispel some of the myths and some of the misconceptions and just foolishness that blocks us from being able to see the power of a united woman. And you'll hear more about that. I don't want to give you guys the full answer and take away from her episode, but it really makes me think of this and how important it is for each of us to share the good things that are happening in our lives, and to share even sometimes the hard things that are happening in our lives. It's not easy. I mean, it's not. We're all out here trying to live our best lives. We're all trying to have unending abundance, and we are doing the work, but we are also being challenged on the journey. And so if we were to share sometimes the great achievements that we have, we would be surprised that probably we could motivate somebody else to keep going when they feel like they're about to give up. Or if we shared when we are feeling pained and stressed and just unsupported, how someone can come in and lift you up because maybe they've had that same experience and they were able to overcome it. And how they can share with you what they did. Not necessarily meaning that you're going to take in exactly what they did and run with it, but maybe it will inspire you to figure out how you can maybe make the situation work more effectively by changing something that you're doing, or show you a path out. And that only comes from us actually sitting down and having real, open, and honest conversation with each other and sharing our gifting. My personal gifting is the gift of exhortation. That is my spiritual gifting. I have the gift of being able to speak life into other people. And I don't take it very lightly. And a lot of times it frightens me because I'm like, I never really knew it was that way. But I'm not ashamed of that anymore. And not that I was ashamed before. I think that's actually a very poor choice of words on my part. Excuse me, but I'm shy. I am naturally a shy person, believe it or not. And so I get hesitant, in sharing, even though I'm doing this, which is probably just totally crazy, but I am. And sometimes I want to retreat into myself, or I don't want to share something that has happened to me because I'm worried that, somebody's not going to understand it and not be able to receive it. Like sharing my journey, even those portions that I shared, because like I mentioned in episode 78 in preparation, I'm not sharing the full story of how I got my home because there's just some parts of it that I just cannot share because it makes me so emotional. And it makes me emotional because I just really saw how good God was in that instant, how much he loves me, how much he loves my family, and how the things that I just never thought I could have, I can have. And it wasn't because I wasn't smart enough that I didn't think I could have them. I just doubted me. I doubted who I was. I doubted my worth, and I allowed my self-worth issues to cloud my judgment and to limit me from what I was supposed to have. But the moment that I surrendered, the moment I recognized my worth, the moment that I decided I deserve good things, it's like the windows of heaven started to open up and just blessings started getting poured down on me. And I have not stopped getting blessed ever since. And it is just my heart is completely grateful and open and receptive. But that took a long time. It took some work. And I think that there are a lot of people out here who are struggling with that. We hide and diminish our gifts because we want to fit in. We weren't born to fit in. Or we were born to stand out. And we just have to stop being willing to try to fit into what other people want versus recognizing that we have to be different because we are different. And we deserve great things because we are God's children. We are blessed and favored people, and we should claim our anointings and our blessings. And like I said, I am probably talking about it from a very religious vein, but that's what it is. It's part of the journey. When you are on this journey to abundance and trying to surrender, you have to tap into those sides of yourself in order to be able to achieve it. You've got to be able to have things that help you, and prayers and beliefs that help you on the journey, whatever that may look like, because maybe for you that doesn't look like Jesus and God and the Holy Ghost. That might look like Allah. That might look like, there's just so many different iterations of God, but it all comes back to the center. And you have to figure out what that matters, what that means to you, because that will help give you the peace that you need while you're on the journey, because we're in a season of it. We are in a season of unending abundance, and you can no longer allow yourself to dim who you are. You have to shine like the light that you are, because when you do that and you bless other people, you illuminate other people's lives. Those blessings manifest beyond those people, because again, you were born into this world to heal one of the issues of this world, and you have to believe it, because the universe and God are calling on you to do those things. So if you're feeling that pull as you are in this season, this time of preparation, your abundance is coming, but abundance comes with work, and you have to be prepared for that. And that is why you have to understand that your light must shine very bright so that other people can see it and other people can be inspired and encouraged by it. And I think we need more of that. I mean, we're all women out here trying to do our best, trying to make it, trying to feed our families and trying to live our best lives and stay moisturized and mind the business that pays us and be beautiful and have love. We deserve all of those wonderful things, and you will have all of those things and more. But you have to stop playing small, and you have to step into exactly who you are. Know who you are, and don't ever deny that person again. Because remember, this is a season of unending abundance. So the universe and the angels and God and the ancestors are calling on us for more. And more is coming. It's right here. The signs are right there. It's just, are we afraid? Or are we going to step forward? So I really feel like this is such a very transformative time. And I know it's scary. I do. And that's why I always for me, when I'm afraid of different things, I do lean into my faith. I lean into books. I lean into meditation, sage, all of those things to help me find my balance. Now is that time where you have to really lean into those things. I'm trying to think. For this week, where have I felt, even though I'm on the sign of 80? This week, I have felt overwhelmed and abundantly blessed at the exact same time. It's funny how now that I'm sitting here, actually sitting still enough to think about how everything has been this week and where I am, and listening to myself talk about these numbers, because yes, y'all, I do speak into you and try to speak into myself at the exact same time. I can see where the alignment of abundance is starting to happen with this, and I do see myself connecting with other people. I've had a couple of connections this week with other people that I also will be sharing on the podcast too, so I'm very excited about sharing them with you. But at the same time, who are magnifying the things that I just mentioned with number 80 and how we have to illuminate the gifts of other people and elevate them so that we can feed into ourselves. So I say that to you, one, to obviously show you that this is not a game. Your words have power and meaning. So if you are intentional and you allow yourself to surrender to this process and you do the work, the blessings will come. One. And then two, because I want you to see that it can be done. I worked a full schedule this week. I do have a regular corporate position, and it was a extremely busy week, very, very busy week. And I still got it done. I still balanced my time and did what I needed to do. And I haven't lost my mind yet. Thank goodness. I haven't had a cocktail either. So if that shows you, I've done it with no wine, God forbid. Just me, you guys, and a lot of ashwagandha tea. I have to admit, that has been helping me now. I drink ashwagandha tea Monday through Friday, and it is totally helping me just calm down. But you got to find that, if that'll help you. I will put a link in the show notes for you to get some, but I'm just kidding. But again, you have to find what works for you. Now is the time to start testing out different things. Now is the time for you to prioritize your happiness and your peace, because you know that you are in this season. And you also know that you have to give praise and reverence to where your source of help is coming from. Stay mindful and vigilant with your prayer life, whatever that spiritual life looks like for you, because it will help you be able to center yourself in the middle of all this madness. Because y'all, it has been a week. I mean, like I said, I've worked I'm talking just from the corporate, my little life, but outside of it, the news cycle, I mean, I have seen all kinds of craziness out here. I'm not even talking about any of that nonsense. I'm not. I've seen it. I refuse to give energy to that foolishness, because who has time for that? And there are so many other real critical things going on in the world that I would rather spend my time focused on. So I have to admit, I have not been watching as much television as I normally do this week. I've been really reading though, and I am in love with the book that I am reading right now, and I'm going to read some more after I finish this episode. The Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois by Honorée Fanonne Jeffers, and it is on Oprah's book club list, and I'm very obsessed with it. It's a really big book. I haven't really talked too much about it, and I'm almost done. I'm looking at it. It's like over 700 pages. Don't let that scare you though, because it goes by really engagingly. It's a beautiful story. And I'm almost done. I'm looking at the thickness to try to tell how many pages I've got left. I probably got about a good 250 left that I think I will probably finish up probably by next Friday, because I have another book on deck that I want to read. But I'm going to talk about this book as well, because there is just so many different layers and meanings for women. And I definitely want to make sure I spotlight this, because it really has struck me. But again, I found my pleasure. That has helped me find peace this week. It helps center me, and it has given me joy in this season. And I still got a chance to do work on my visions and my plans and all of those good things. It just all kind of balanced out. It was like finding my peace really helped me open up a little bit more and stay focused, if that makes sense. So find your peace, because that will help you, again, open up and stay focused. And don't be afraid to share your stories, y'all. You have to. I know you guys have been listening to me for 80 episodes now, and I really appreciate it. And I hope you have found value in the women that I have spotlighted in a few episodes. And I will continue to spotlight women, because I want you to see that it can be done. And I'm talking about women from all walks of life, because we have to learn how to understand other people's perspectives in order for us to be able to move forward. We each have a story, and that story is unique to us, but it still can save someone. It can inspire someone. It can motivate someone. It can heal somebody. It might save somebody's life. You never know what happens when the right story hits the right person at the right time, because we are all going through so many different things, through this beautiful, ugly, dark, twisted thing that we call life. And I want to make sure that we are giving each other that illumination that is needed to inspire and motivate each other. Because remember, that is part of Unending Abundance. Unending Abundance calls on us to lean in and to speak life and to give strength to each other. So I hope that we are all taking that in a little bit. And I hope I'm giving you something to think about as you are going forth into this week, because this is a powerful time. Powerful time. Some of y'all are going to do some amazing things, and I cannot wait to hear about them. I hope you will share them with me, because I want to be inspired and encouraged by you. And if I can share any of my journeys with you that I have not shared or you're curious about, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I pretty much am. I'm open. Certain things I don't talk about too much, just because they tap into my emotions a little too deeply, and I'm a compartmentalized kind of girl. And I am working on that. But at the same time, I know that I am someone that was born to speak life into someone, into you, into the world. And so no matter how much that might scare me, that is my calling, that is my purpose. And so that is what I will do. And each of you has a calling, a unique gifting, a purpose. Don't be afraid to tap into what is inside of you, because you are meant to do amazing, abundantly, exceedingly beautiful, great things. And I cannot wait to see and experience what you do. So that's this week's episode, number 80, the season of Unending Abundance. I'm claiming unending abundance for each and every single one of you. I hope that you have enjoyed this week's episode. I want to thank you for continuing to support me and listen to me. I truly appreciate it. And all your feedback, it just truly helps me be inspired. So thank you. If you want to connect with me, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can email me at thewelldonelife@gmail.com. You can also connect with me on social media. I can be reached on Instagram at the Well Done Life Podcast, or you can reach me on my personal Instagram at Pamela L. Davis. If you send me a DM, please make sure it's nothing crazy, y'all. I've been getting some weird little DMs here and there. I try to send out love and light, but I'm a gospel gangster. Don't play with me. I'm cute, I'm sweet, but I'm not a game. But no, seriously, let's just keep it positive. Let's keep it uplifting. Let's keep it motivating, because that's really what this is about. And I will definitely connect back with you. I will be back next week. I really appreciate everything, like I said, that you guys have brought to me. And I just want to make sure I send that love and light into the world. All of my information will be in the show notes, all of the episodes that I mentioned, all of the resources that I mentioned. I look forward to talking to you guys next week. Have a wonderful weekend. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your peace and your health. And I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.